The story begins with Sarah, an employee at a company that manages pension funds. She has been working there for a long time, yet she has never received a promotion. Even her salary has stayed exactly the same since the day she started. Outside the building, a group of suspicious individuals can be seen walking together towards Zara's office. It quickly becomes clear that they are planning something, and soon it is revealed that they are a group of robbers. They prepare their weapons and signal trackers, then take the receptionist hostage. In a short amount of time, they manage to take control of the building's security system, and the robbery officially begins. Their sudden arrival throws everyone into shock and fear. The robbers order everyone to follow instructions if they want to stay unharmed.
If you don't hear what I say, when I say it, you will be shot.
Zara and the other employees are told to put away their phones and gather in a single room. At one point, one of the employees tries to intimidate the robbers by mentioning how advanced the building's security system is, but they ignore him completely and beat him without hesitation. The leader of the robbers, Wayne, then demands that anyone responsible for handling the company's financial transactions step forward. Without delay, Zara stands up since that is part of her job. She is clearly terrified, but she has no other choice. Alongside Zara, her colleague Luke is also called forward, since the two of them handle these transactions together. They are ordered to transfer the money into a prearranged account. Luke initially refuses, knowing that this violates strict regulations, especially since the amount involved is enormous, £4 billion belonging to clients. But in the end, overwhelmed by fear, Luke reluctantly follows the order. In the end, the transaction is successfully completed. The robbers then force the company executives to sign off on it as verification. Everyone is overwhelmed with fear, unable to believe that a building with such advanced security could be breached so easily. Luke points out that the transaction still needs internal verification. Without hesitation, Zara steps in and handles it herself. She also explains that since the money is being sent to an unfamiliar account, the bank will most likely call to confirm. About 30 minutes later, the bank contacts Luke. Wayne warns him not to say anything suspicious, but the pressure gets to him and he breaks down. Seeing this, Zara quickly takes over the call. She does her best to remain calm as the bank questions the unusually large transfer, especially since it is being sent to a different account than usual. Zara continues to reassure them, and eventually the bank is convinced and releases the funds. At the same time, one of the reception staff takes a risk and tries to signal for help by sending a coded message to people in another building. Unfortunately, the attempt is noticed, and he is brutally beaten.
Nobody move!
The incident only makes everyone else even more terrified. The robbers know they cannot stay much longer, worried that the message might reach someone and bring the police. Wayne gathers his team and keeps them on alert. Once he is informed that the money has gone through, they quickly make their escape. And just like that, the perfect crime is already in motion. This is Steel. Not long after, the police arrive at the building, but by then, the robbers have already blended in with other employees and slipped away. They regroup later at their hideout. As the one who processed the transaction, Zara appears the most shaken, still clearly traumatized by everything that happened. She is later questioned by a police officer named Reese, who asked her to recount the events in order to identify the suspects. Surprisingly, Reese seems impressed, believing that Zara's actions helped save many lives, even though the company lost an enormous amount of money. The next day, Zara is still in shock. As soon as she wakes up, she checks her crypto wallet and discovers that £5 million has been transferred into it. Without wasting any time, she moves the money into a cold wallet for safety. That is when the truth is revealed. Zara has been an insider all along, secretly working with the robbers. The scene then shifts to the police station, where investigators begin to suspect several individuals captured on surveillance footage entering the building. Meanwhile, Zara calmly returns to work as if nothing happened. She tells Luke that she has received a huge payment. It turns out she was never working alone. She and Luke were both in on it. Luke is shocked by how much they were paid, especially since the robbers initially promised only a few £100,000. Instead of feeling relieved, Luke becomes even more anxious. He knows that one small mistake could expose everything. Not long after, Reese and his partner Darren return to the office to question Luke more thoroughly. Luke struggles to stay composed while answering, and his nervous behavior raises Reese's suspicions that he might be involved. After the interrogation, Luke immediately goes to Zara and tells her that the police are starting to suspect them. Zara tries to calm him down, reminding him that so far the police have no solid evidence. She insists that they must stay composed and avoid doing anything that might draw attention. After work, Zara reminds Luke to secure his crypto and store it in a cold wallet as soon as possible. But Luke still cannot calm down, convinced that someone is watching him. Without thinking twice, he hides inside a closet to check his crypto. The moment he sees the amount, he is completely shocked. He never expected it to be that big. Meanwhile, Zara goes to visit her mother since they have not seen each other in a long time. She brings some food with her, but their relationship is far from warm. Instead of reconnecting, they end up arguing. Zara cannot stand her mother's attitude, someone who has always cared only about money. After that, Zara quietly slips into her childhood room and hides her cold wallet there, making sure it stays out of the police's reach. She then heads back home. On the way, Luke calls her again, saying that someone suspicious has been watching him. Zara brushes it off, telling him it is probably just his imagination. But unknown to Luke, the people watching him are actually part of the robbery crew. They are making sure nothing traces back to them. And in their eyes, Luke has now become a liability that needs to be eliminated before the police catch on. Not long after, Luke hides his cold wallet behind a light fixture. What he does not realize is that his apartment has already been fitted with surveillance cameras. The robbers move forward with their plan carefully and manage to get inside his apartment. At the same time, Luke is overwhelmed with fear. He finally calls Reese, wanting to say something important. But that decision only puts him in greater danger, since all of his calls are being monitored. The robbers arrive shortly after, while Luke stays hidden. Inside the closet, he is terrified, knowing they will not hesitate to kill him. When he notices a small opening, he takes the chance and tries to escape. Unfortunately, one of the robbers catches him, leading to a violent struggle. Somehow, Luke manages to overpower the attacker and rushes out of the apartment. At that exact moment, Zara is on her way to see Luke, unaware of what is happening. She arrives and waits for the elevator, only to find it filled with blood from the robber Luke had just fought. Not far from there, Luke is still running, desperately trying to get away. But soon, Zara sees him being beaten, and there is nothing she can do to help. Luke is brutally tortured, dragged out of the apartment, and forced into a car. After the robbers leave, Zara notices a small glass bottle they accidentally left behind. She quickly takes it, realizing the blood on it could be used to identify the people who attacked Luke. Shortly after, Reese arrives at Luke's apartment, but he catches a glimpse of Zara climbing out through a window. That is enough to raise suspicion. He begins to believe that Zara and Luke have been hiding something all along, and that it is directly connected to the robbery. Later, Reese asks Zara to meet him in a quiet place, hoping she will finally tell him the truth. Zara refuses to confess, and instead urges him to focus on catching the people who kidnapped Luke. But Reese is already convinced that both of them are involved. The only thing he lacks is solid proof. The story briefly takes us back a few days earlier, when Luke first approaches Zara with a plan to rob the very company they work for. He explains that the offer came to him while he was playing an online game, and the reward immediately caught his attention. For Luke, it feels like an opportunity he cannot ignore. He has spent years being overlooked by the company with no promotion and barely any salary growth. Frustration has been building for a long time. Zara, on the other hand, rejects the idea right away. But Luke keeps pushing, insisting that the plan is safe and that the payout will be massive. He continues to pressure her, putting her in a difficult position until she starts to feel conflicted and even annoyed by his persistence. Then one day, Zara receives the news that her promotion has been canceled. The disappointment hits hard. In that moment, everything changes, and she finally agrees to join Luke in the plan. Back in the present, Zara is now searching online for ways to extract fingerprints from bloodstains. She quickly heads to a pharmacy to buy the tools she needs to collect a proper sample. After returning home, she is suddenly approached by Reese, along with another officer named Ellie and an MI6 agent named Sam. Zara is caught off guard and clearly not pleased by their unexpected visit, especially since they are there to question her. Even though she tries to push them away, she eventually lets them in to avoid raising suspicion. They begin questioning her immediately, since surveillance footage places her near Luke's apartment just before he went missing. Zara keeps her composure and answers carefully, doing everything she can to sound convincing. As Ellie and Sam prepare to leave, Sam notes that Zara might be involved, but she is not their main priority. He suggests that the police focus on finding Luke and tracing the money, since that is the key to uncovering the real group behind the robbery. The story then shifts again to an earlier moment, when Zara and Luke first meet the robbery crew. Zara raises concerns, questioning how they could plan such a major crime without even wearing masks. To her, it feels reckless and inexperienced. But she is told that this is part of the strategy, allowing them to blend in with regular employees and avoid suspicion. Meanwhile, Reese is approached by Darren, who brings him a list of accounts that received the stolen money. Reese is shocked to discover that the funds were transferred to a defense contractor. Darren believes it is only a temporary holding account, a way to move the money before sending it elsewhere. He also suspects that intelligence agencies, possibly MI6, may already be aware of the situation. At the same time, Zara secretly goes to the robber's hideout to deliver the fingerprint sample she collected. Just as she is about to leave, she is discovered. She tries to explain that she chose to give the sample to them instead of handing it over to the police. Instead of appreciating her effort, one of the robbers lashes out at her, angry that she managed to find their hideout. Realizing she is no longer welcome, Zara quickly leaves. In her mind, she is only trying to make sure the robbery does not get exposed. After that, she hides inside a bar, but the robbers continue to follow her. She moves into a basement area, looking for a place to stay out of sight. Knowing she is being tracked, Zara escapes through a back exit and quickly gets on a bus, putting as much distance as possible between herself and the people chasing her. At the same time, Reese is called in by his superior and given a serious warning. MI6 is threatening to take over the case, and he is told to step away if he wants to keep his job. If he refuses, there is a real chance he could end up being made the scapegoat. Back to Zara, she is now staying temporarily at her mother's house while retrieving the cold wallet she hid there. But her mother already knows about the money and immediately demands a share. Zara refuses without hesitation. She has spent her whole life feeling like her mother only shows interest when there is something to gain. Genuine care has never been part of their relationship. After that, Zara heads back home. But as she arrives, she notices people inside her house. Fear instantly takes over, especially when more individuals show up and seem ready to go in. Without wasting a second, she hides. Panic sets in, but luckily Reese shows up. Zara quickly leaves with him, not wanting to take any risks. During the drive, Reese explains that the people inside her house are not the robbery crew, but MI6 agents. That only makes things worse for Zara, since she now realizes she is being hunted from multiple sides. All she can do is regret her choices, especially since Luke is still missing, with no trace. Trying to calm things down, Reese takes Zara to a quiet spot by the river. He explains that the robbery case is about to be taken over by MI6 because it may be linked to something much bigger. There are suspicions that it could involve acts of terrorism, with the potential to weaken the government and disrupt the economy. Not long after, Zara and Reese head to the robber's hideout. Reese asks her to stay in the car while he checks inside, but the place has already been abandoned. While waiting, Zara notices a van approaching her, moving in a way that feels deliberate. Within seconds, it accelerates straight toward her. She reacts quickly, hitting the horn, which causes the van to back off at the last moment. Hearing the commotion, Reese rushes back and makes sure she is safe. Realizing how dangerous things have become, he promises to find her a safer place to stay. But Zara has another plan. She believes she can find a clue that will lead them to the real mastermind behind the robbery. She decides to return to the office and check the committee meeting records, since those individuals have direct access to the company's finances. A few days later, the story shifts to the robbery crew. Wayne is furious, scolding his team after learning that Zara managed to obtain fingerprints from one of them. He is even more angry that she somehow discovered their hideout, which was supposed to be completely secret. In the middle of this tension, one of Wayne's men, London, brings Luke in. They want answers, especially how Zara could have found their location. Wayne pressures Luke, demanding to know what else Zara might be aware of, since any leak could lead to their arrest. But Luke insists he knows nothing and desperately begs for mercy. Meanwhile, Reese meets with a doctor he knows, hoping to analyze the fingerprint sample Zara collected. The doctor hesitates at first since Reese does not have official authorization, but after being pushed enough, he finally agrees to help. The next day, Zara returns to the office and meets with HR. She plays her part well, explaining that she feels lonely after being away from work for so long. Her plan goes smoothly, and she even manages to move into a different room, exactly as she wanted. From there, Zara begins digging deeper. She quietly checks the computers of the committee assistants, hoping to uncover who else might be involved behind the scenes of the robbery. At the same time, Reese visits his uncle to borrow money. It turns out he has lost £100,000 to gambling. His uncle can only shake his head, realizing how serious Reese's addiction has become. Even so, he agrees to try and help him find a loan. A few hours later, Reese is sent with his partner to meet a businessman whose account received part of the stolen money. Without hesitation, Reese asks to review the man's financial records, but the businessman refuses, insisting on his right to protect his data. Then the businessman's assistant steps in and reveals that the money transferred by the robbers has already been taken out through a hack. Hearing this, Darren immediately pressures the businessman to make an official statement, warning that refusal could lead to him being treated as a suspect. The situation escalates quickly, and they are eventually forced to leave after being accused of making baseless allegations. Just before they go, the assistant quietly approaches Reese and promises to provide the account report he asked for. Elsewhere, London begins to grow uneasy. Their hideout has already been exposed, and there is a real risk that their current location could be discovered next. But Wayne refuses to change course, insisting that they stay and fight if necessary. Later that night, Luke tries to take advantage of the tension. He attempts to convince London that sticking with Wayne is a bad idea and suggests working together instead. But London shows no interest and walks away, leaving Luke behind. Meanwhile, Zara remains at the office late into the night. She continues reviewing documents, determined to identify which company executive might be involved. Not long after, Reese calls her, saying he is on his way to join her. While printing documents, Zara is unexpectedly interrupted by her colleague Milo and his partner. Fortunately, nothing suspicious happens, and Zara manages to keep things under control. When Reese arrives, Zara shares her suspicion that Milo could be working with the robbers. She plans to gather more evidence before jumping to conclusions. The following morning, Zara is having breakfast at a restaurant near her hotel. Out of nowhere, a tall man approaches her and reveals that she is already surrounded by MI6 agents. With her life on the line, Zara has no choice but to go with them. At the same time, London returns to Luke, this time willing to cooperate, but only if he gets paid. Luke agrees to tell the truth as long as he is taken out of the hideout. However, he refuses to give up his own money and instead suggests a new plan, stealing everything from Zara. At the same time, Zara meets with the head of MI6, a woman named Diana, to share what she knows about the robbery crew. Zara asks for time to uncover which company executives were involved in the scheme. She even requests to be arrested, as long as her money is not taken, but Diana refuses. Instead, she offers something else, a completely new identity and a chance for Zara to start a new life overseas. The condition is clear. If Zara accepts, she can only share information with MI6 and no one else. Diana then reveals something unexpected. Reese has been struggling with a massive gambling debt. According to her, he might only be helping Zara so he can take her money and use it to pay everything off. This shocks Zara. She had no idea about Reese's situation, and now she begins to question his intentions. That night, Zara meets Reese and confronts him about his debt. At first, he insists that he has no interest in her money, but Zara is already frustrated, especially knowing he kept something so important from her. Eventually, Reese comes clean. He admits that solving this case is the only way he can hold on to his career. It is his last chance to stay a police officer. He asks Zara to trust him, insisting that he never intended to take advantage of her. Hearing this, Zara realizes she may have misjudged him. She apologizes for accusing him based on what Diana told her. The tension between them softens, and they end up growing closer. The next morning, Reese receives the fingerprint analysis results from the doctor. He immediately heads back to the office to report the findings, while Zara continues her own search for the executive involved in the robbery. When Reese arrives, he is informed that the media has uncovered something alarming. The stolen money has been traced to offshore accounts, including one connected to a member of the finance minister's family. The case is no longer just a robbery. It is turning into something much bigger, involving powerful figures. Meanwhile, Zara finally finds a crucial lead. As she reviews documents from the day of the robbery, she discovers that Milo was secretly involved in the plan. At the same time, Reese informs Ellie that one of the robbers has been identified. Even though he bent the rules to get the fingerprint sample, it has accelerated the investigation. Ellie is hesitant, especially since the evidence came from Zara, but Reese assures her that he already has a plan to capture the group. Eventually, she agrees and they prepare to move quickly before MI6 steps in. Back to Zara, she confronts Milo, convinced that he is the real mastermind behind the robbery. But Milo firmly denies everything, claiming he has no connection to the robbers. Zara grows more desperate, knowing that if the truth is not uncovered soon, MI6 will come after her again. Seeing her situation, Milo finally gives in. He reveals that the robbers provided him with an emergency contact number, something they could use if things went wrong. He agrees to share it with Zara, but only if she promises to keep it a secret from everyone else. From there, Milo takes Zara to his house, and she is immediately shocked by how luxurious it is. Milo explains that he was forced to accept the robbers' offer because of his bank loans, especially with a reward as large as £20 million on the table. Zara cannot hide her frustration, Milo received a much bigger payout, yet she is the one being chased by both the police and MI6. Before she leaves, Milo hands her a phone. But something keeps bothering her, so she asks why he and Luke even involved her in the first place, when the two of them could have handled the transaction on their own. That is when the truth finally hits her. She was never part of the plan as an equal. She was meant to take the fall. Zara breaks down, realizing how badly she has been used. She vents all her anger at Milo for working with Luke and dragging her into this situation. After that, she walks away. Meanwhile, Reese and Ellie continue searching for the robbers' hideout. Using satellite data and GPS analysis, they begin to narrow down the possible location. At the same time, Wayne and his crew start packing up, preparing to leave their hideout before it is discovered. Luke notices this, and not long after, London, who has agreed to work with him, takes him along to track down Zara and steal her money. But just as they are about to get into the car, Luke spots an opportunity. Catching London off guard, he makes a run for it. He sprints as fast as he can, trying to escape. Unfortunately, it does not last long. He is caught again and struggles to break free, but he is simply not strong enough. Elsewhere, Zara meets Diana once more and hands over the emergency contact number she received from Milo. Diana is pleased with the information and keeps her promise, preparing a new identity for Zara so she can start over. After that, Zara goes back to her mother's house to settle the matter of dividing the stolen money. Without wasting time, she opens her cold wallet only to find that all the funds are gone. Anger takes over immediately, and she assumes her mother has tampered with it. The tension between them quickly escalates. Her mother admits that she tried to hack into the wallet, which caused the funds to disappear. Hearing this, Zara feels like everything she risked has been for nothing. She cannot believe how greedy her own mother can be. The frustration and pain build up all at once, and she struggles to hold back her emotions, thinking that everything is lost for good. But then, it turns out to be nothing more than a trick. The cold wallet containing her money is actually still safe. At the same time, Reese and Ellie arrive at the robbers' hideout, only to be shocked when they find other police units already there. Confusion quickly turns into suspicion as they begin questioning who leaked the information. They were supposed to be the first to arrive. It does not take long for them to realize the truth. Their conversations had been intercepted by Sam, allowing him to get there ahead of them. Frustrated, Reese leaves and heads back to the city to confront Zara. By now, Reese has figured out that Zara has been working with MI6. The realization hits hard, and he is furious. Because of her actions, he has lost his position in the police force.
Reese.
I've been suspended, Zara. I'm gonna lose my job. Because of you.
Before parting ways, Zara tries to offer him a share of the stolen money. But instead of accepting it, Reese feels insulted, seeing it as an attempt to belittle him. The tension between them rises, but Zara remains silent, knowing she has no real choice. The offer from MI6 is her only chance to start over. Not long after, Zara returns home, but to her shock, London is already there, holding Luke hostage. He demands that Zara hand over her cold wallet and the password, then leave without causing trouble. Luke tries to stop her, which only angers London. He presses a knife closer, making it clear that he is serious. Thinking quickly, Zara shifts the situation. She reveals that someone else, Milo, received a much larger share from the robbery. She offers to lead London to him, pointing out that her own money is nothing compared to what Milo has. Zara continues to convince him that Milo is the real target, the one with the biggest reward. But London turns this to his advantage. Even if he goes after Milo, he still wants everything from both Zara and Luke. With no other option, Zara hands over the cold wallet and the password, hoping it will be enough to keep them alive. Meanwhile, Reese tries to contact Ellie, but he can no longer access his account to check the case. Ellie explains that his access has been revoked, and for now he is completely cut off from the investigation. Elsewhere, the robbers remain on alert at their hideout, waiting for news from London, who left with Luke. As they begin to relax, Wayne suddenly decides they need to move. He orders the group to find London and deal with anyone involved before the situation gets worse. At the same time, London forces Luke and Zara into Milo's house to steal the money. With a weapon pointed at him, Milo has no choice but to cooperate. London manages to secure Milo's cold wallet, but the password is displayed on a decorative piece in his workspace. To access everything, he needs to go there. What London does not realize is that Milo has already prepared to fight back. He secretly grabs a pepper spray and tries to turn the situation around. But the moment he makes his move, London reacts faster and violently retaliates, stabbing Milo without hesitation. He then warns Zara and Luke not to try anything, making it clear that he will not hesitate to do the same to them. Terrified, Luke reveals where the password is kept. He even suggests that London lock them inside so he can escape safely with the money. Soon after, the three of them head back to the office. From a distance, Reese spots them. As they approach the entrance, a security guard tries to stop them. But London responds with brutal force, killing him instantly without a second thought. At the same time, Wayne and his crew arrive at Milo's house and quickly realize that London has already moved toward the office to claim Milo's money. Without wasting any time, they head after him, determined to stop London and eliminate anyone else involved before the investigation goes any further. Back at the office, London reaches the room and orders Luke to retrieve Milo's password. Once he gets what he wants, London makes it clear that he has no intention of letting Luke and Zara walk away alive. But in a sudden turn, Luke manages to fight back. He catches London off guard and knocks him unconscious. Seizing the moment, Luke and Zara gather all the cold wallets and rush to contact the police. Luke struggles to get through as the phone signal suddenly drops. When the connection finally returns, he notices someone approaching. It turns out to be Reese. Meanwhile, Zara keeps her weapon trained on London as he begins to regain consciousness. Even with a gun pointed at him, London shows no fear, convinced that Zara does not know how to use it. In an instant, he lunges forward and takes the weapon from her. Just then, Reese arrives, forcing London to shift his attention and open fire on him. The situation quickly spirals into chaos. Reese has to think fast, trying to hold London back without any weapon of his own. He pulls Zara aside, urging her to find cover and figure out a way to fight back. Moments later, Wayne and his crew storm into the building. At the same time, Reese realizes that MI6 is already outside and about to move in. Knowing a full-scale confrontation is inevitable, he urges Zara to get out before things escalate further. The robbers begin searching for London, but London is already one step ahead. He manages to take down one of them, showing just how dangerous he is. While this is happening, Zara and Reese quickly print out important documents and attempt to escape. But things take a turn for the worse when Reese is shot, the bullet going straight through him. Not long after, Wayne finds them. Surprisingly, Zara is not his target. His focus remains on tracking down London. Still, Zara is furious, reacting to the violence around her. Elsewhere, London recovers and retrieves the cold wallet from Luke again. Thinking quickly, Luke throws it away and escapes using the elevator. But as London prepares to leave, he notices Wayne and the others arriving. With no way out, a gunfight breaks out. Against all odds, London holds his ground. He manages to eliminate Wayne and the rest of his crew. Even so, he is badly wounded and injects himself with painkillers just to stay on his feet. Not long after, Zara decides she cannot keep hiding. Armed with a taser, she moves in to confront London. As soon as she steps out, she comes face to face with him and is forced to take cover as he fires in her direction. London searches for her, but Zara steadies herself, carefully planning her next move. Step by step, she closes the distance. Then at the right moment, she strikes.
Come get your money.
Even then, London refuses to go down easily. He fights back, and the two struggle for control. He is stronger, and for a moment, it looks like Zara will not make it. But in a final burst of determination, she manages to use the taser and bring him down. After an exhausting fight, Zara finally overcomes him and takes back the money. As the police begin to arrive outside, Zara steps out of the building, still trying to process everything that has happened. A few days later, the news reveals that the main suspect behind the robbery is none other than Milo. Both the police and MI6 continue investigating the stolen money that was funneled into the accounts of powerful individuals, since it could threaten political stability. At the same time, Zara and Luke feel relieved. The authorities are no longer actively hunting them, and they now have a chance to leave the country and start over. Even though the stolen money has been returned, Zara feels a sense of peace, knowing she can finally begin a new life. Not long after, Zara meets Reese again. She brings up something that has been bothering her. Right before London was taken down, he claimed that Reese was somehow involved in the robbery. Reese immediately rejects the idea. Instead of being involved, he has lost his job and is buried in debt because of his gambling addiction. He insists that the robbers were only trying to manipulate Zara by planting doubt in her mind. Before leaving, Zara stops by the office one last time to collect her belongings. While she is there, she hears that the stolen money has already been returned. The speed of it does not make sense, and it leaves her with more questions than answers. Just as she is about to leave, Reese shows up with a shocking revelation. He believes he has finally uncovered the real mastermind behind the entire operation. It turns out to be his own colleague, Darren. Reese is convinced, especially since Darren has deep expertise in financial crimes. Looking back, it all fits together. Darren orchestrated the robbery as part of a larger plan, not just to steal money, but to expose hidden financial crimes. Zara struggles to process it. She cannot believe someone would go this far for a personal mission. The tension rises as Reese pushes forward, determined to report Darren and have him arrested. But Darren has his own explanation. His goal was never just about the robbery. He wanted to uncover financial manipulation that has been ignored for years. By sending the stolen money into the accounts of wealthy businessmen and even a minister's family, he forced hidden corruption into the open. Through this, Darren gathered evidence to expose a system that has long protected the powerful. He believes the system is deeply unfair, where the middle and lower classes are constantly burdened with taxes, while the wealthy grow richer and remain untouched by the law. Worse, the money collected from the public is often misused by corrupt officials instead of benefiting society. In the end, Darren hands over a cold wallet containing 10 million pounds, taken from hidden accounts owned by corrupt elites. In his view, fighting criminals sometimes requires crossing the same line. After everything, Reese and Zara decide to walk away from it all. Still, Reese cannot help but feel a sense of regret for refusing Darren's offer. Zara reminds him that accepting it would have tied him to Darren forever. Then, in a quiet moment, Zara reveals that she still has Milo's cold wallet holding 20 million pounds. More than enough for both of them to move on and build new lives. So the moral of the story is, if your co-worker invites you to commit a billion-pound robbery because he got the idea while gaming online, maybe just update your CV instead.